report, Glenn. New developments tonight out of Amherst Pelham Regional School District. The results of a Title IX investigation into gender discrimination complaints spotlighting the treatment of transgender students are expected to be released to the public soon.
Western Mass News reporter Wesley Days live for us in studio tonight. With how the state weighed in on the issue, and Wesley, it's more than just one report.
It is indeed, Chris. There's 3 Title IX reports and 2 non-Title IX reports, all of which will be made available in just a matter of time. And the school committee also is having their say on where people can find them.
The saga continues in Amherst as reports from a months-long Title IX investigation into discrimination claims involving the treatment of transgender students at Amherst Pelham Regional Middle School are being prepared for public view. Interim Amherst Superintendent Doug Slaughter, speaking at the school committee meeting Tuesday night, explained why initial efforts to keep the results of the investigation private have since been reversed.
Continued throughout the process of the Title IX and other investigative reports and have maintained that they are that they're personnel records and therefore not be made public. A challenge was submitted to the Secretary of State. Secretary of State has gotten back to us and suggested that with the exception of a specific outline of privacy concerns, largely most things are public records.
He says the reports are currently being redacted to remove the names of students and witnesses. During the course of this investigation, 3 school counselors and an assistant superintendent were placed on administrative leave, and several school committee members resigned their posts. Current school committee member Irv Rhodes says access to these documents begins the process of closing a dark chapter in the district's legacy.
Make our amends, apologize for those, and then move on to a better future.
And Chris and Abby, last night the school committee voted unanimously to have the reports posted on the school district's website as soon as the public records request has been fulfilled. Reporting live in studio, Wesley Days, Western Mass News.